retire. Yes, sir, I'm a red hot shot.
Hey, welcome to our video. This is the grocery store that we did a few months ago, and we did a white box on this, is what they called. So we took everything out of the interior. We just did a scrap metal. This was the grocery store that we did a demo on maybe a month ago. They called us back and they needed the electrical demolition done on it. Determined they had an electrical survey done. They decided that this stuff's too old and they don't want to use it in the new application of what they're doing. So we have done a bunch of scrap metal stuff in the past, and we did this gigantic alginol plant back in 2020, 2019. And we learned that inside of the tubes underneath these buildings are these gigantic things of copper. You'll see in the video where it actually takes a bobcat and a lot of effort to get them out of the tubes, and then you're going to see us scrapping all this stuff out. It's pretty freaking fascinating. This is the bobcat. It just barely fits in the door. So we're coming in and he's gonna knock that over. Thank God it didn't break any of the breakers. That breaker box right there, breakers that are in it, at one point in time, we did an alginol plant, and you'll hear me talk about that in another part of the video, but we got all these breakers. We got all kinds of crazy stuff from that. That was a crazy story. So the guys in the alginol plant had done something illegal. They put this whole thing together and they went to jail for fraud before they even used the place. So we got all this crazy electrical stuff and air purification systems and generators and cooling towers, a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And we worked that into our deal. We did the job for about $30,000 less or $40,000 less, and we ended up getting a huge amount of stuff. So what you see is going on right here, the temptation to steal this from a job site, this would be very tempting because this is a lot of money. This could be $10,000 just in copper. If you add the breakers in and this, I'm absolutely certain it's over $10,000. What they're doing right there, where they're pulling those from, is they're pulling them from a transformer that's outside. And that transformer, we had to make sure that they disconnected that transformer. If you grab a hold of a wire like this and it's not disconnected, I don't know, you're gonna go meet Jesus. Let's put it that way. It'll straight kill you.
Go on, get it. We're not supposed to go in there.
A 66,000-volt shock killed a boy today when he broke into a substation. The electricity board warns children to keep away from substations. Never try to get toys back yourself, otherwise you may not live to play with them again.
They did an electrical survey on this thing. I heard they were putting in a storage complex and they didn't need this stuff. They left it in place until they had their electrical survey. The electricians came in and said, no, I can't reuse any of that stuff because we won't warranty it. Also, the location of it, where it's at now, is not the preferred location. The preferred location is going to be on one of the walls.
What about the short one? We're going to have to chip out the plastic. We're going to have to break this out, and then we're going to have to hook them the best we can with a chain. Okay. Get them up a foot or two, and then run it. Okay. Come on down. Out. Good. Up.
We're literally doing this job for free. We are a little slow this time of the year. You know, our condo season's coming up. Instead of sending the guys home, we're doing some scrap metal stuff. These strands of copper, some of them are a ½ inch in diameter. Some of them are half of that. They're huge, big pieces of copper to bring the electric in off of the pole through a transformer and into the building to service all the coolers and all the electrical stuff for what used to be a grocery store.
Money, money, money!
right there you're looking at, the building's probably 150 foot long. So you're looking at 150 foot strands of that. This building is huge. So what I'm going to show you next though is this is just the breakers. Now the breakers that we did on this other plant, there was almost 300 of them. We're going to go check these breakers out and I'm going to talk about them. Inside of the big breaker box that you saw in the video was all these breakers. These breakers, this breaker right here, first of all, we haven't looked any of them up yet, but this breaker right here could be worth $2,100. It could be worth $5,000. It just depends. And you say, well, who would need a breaker like that? Manufacturing plant somewhere up in, let's say, Missouri. Let's say your plant goes down and you need this breaker. It's $20,000. Well, you don't want to spend the $20,000 and they may or may not have it in stock. So they'll look on eBay and they'll look at these other guys that broker this electrical equipment. And we had breakers like this that we're selling for $400, $500, $700, $800 a piece. We had got 300 of them back in the 2019 one. So we're curious to see what these are going to be worth. So let's say your plant goes down, you need the breaker. So they'll get a hold of a company like ours who have them on eBay. We had a ton of them on eBay. We haven't had any in a couple years, and we had people calling us up and saying, look, if you'll overnight that to me, I'll pay you the extra $200 or whatever, because they needed to get their plant back up and running. So these breakers are going to be replacements for big systems that are in wherever, you know, mainly manufacturing plants. So these big breakers they're exciting. We like it. So let's see what the guys are up to in the yard. We're scrapping this stuff out right now. There you go, you see us using the chop saw. That copper is so thick, can't cut it easily with any sort of tools. The size of cutters you would need would be gigantic. So we're cutting it with a chop saw. So what we're doing here in the mornings when we come in, the guys are they're either unloading trucks or they're doing stuff like this. Everybody comes in, we work as a team and we process scrap, or we're unloading trucks and stacking cabinet. So the guys that want more overtime and stuff like that, they get in earlier and they help out. It's pretty cool. These guys like each other. They work together very well. Look at all that copper. So all that copper came out of the floor at that grocery store. Now here we are, we got 4 or 5 guys. We don't have much coming off the trucks today, so we've got 60 guys that work for us in our off season, our slower part of the season. Our slower part of the season down here is when everybody's here. So everybody's here because it's winter time. You know, a lot of the buildings that we work in, they won't let you in the buildings during season because they don't want to hear all the noise. You know, one guy takes out his floor, and then the next guy takes out his floor, and the next guy takes out his floor, and the next thing you know, nobody gets any peace and quiet in these high rises. So a good portion of the work that we do is the stuff that nobody else wants to do. You have to have licensing for, and you got to be a certain caliber of a contractor. And what I mean by that is not that we're special or anything, but we do follow their rules and we do things the way they ask us to. We keep their lobbies clean and stuff like that. So this is that big breaker box, and there were about 20 breakers in here, including these big master breakers. That big piece of metal you see them playing with, believe it or not, that is a big sheet of copper. It's probably going to weigh 20 pounds. What he's doing right here is we're cutting the coating off of these. If you take this coating off, you have what is considered bare bright copper, and which is the highest form of copper. It's the highest form of copper that I know of. There probably are different things like ingots and stuff like that where somebody has to melt this down or whatever. So the copper that's got the bluing on it, they don't give you as much for it. So we've got so much copper, we're going to go to them and say, look, we want you to pay us bare bright prices for this anyway. Whatever they give us, they're going to make twice that. So we're doing the work, we're doing the labor, we want to get as much as we possibly can. So inside of those cabinets, there's going to be pure little brackets of aluminum. That stuff that he's messing with right there, that is copper. and he's cutting the bolts off of it so we can pull it out. And literally that whole box there of all just the breakers, those breakers are worth $200, $300, $400. One of them was worth like $1,700. We got an offer on one the other day. It was like $600, and we had 2 of them, so it was a $1,200 offer. We didn't accept it because we're asking $750 for it, and we think we can get it, so we didn't take it. So look at all that copper you see laying on the ground, all that black stuff. We're going to cut the coating off of all of that. Work as a team. It'll probably take, probably a week or 10 days in the mornings. And meanwhile, we bend it up or cut it and get it into those cans to make it easier to move around. Right there, he's using, that's a concrete saw. They call it a chop saw. You can use it for what he's doing. You can cut metal with it. That's a metal blade. Or you can use it with a diamond blade to cut up concrete. So right here, this is him rolling up. All of that is copper. Probably 60, 70 pounds of copper right there. Another probably 30, 40 pounds of copper he just threw on top of it. But that's our scrap area back there. So Bernard runs the scrap area. So in the mornings, he's there and he's making sure everybody's got the tools they need and the electricity and all that stuff and the cut blades. And he supervises and makes sure that we don't get loads that have mixed items in them, because that's where the scrapyard gets you. Scrap guy looks down in your barrel and sees 1 or 2 things that aren't processed properly. They may downgrade your load. Your load might go from $3 a pound to 50 cents a pound. And they're notorious for not telling you and doing that and not saying, hey, here, take this one piece out of this barrel and put it back on your truck and process it somewhere else. We don't want you processing it here.
Are you going to do a separate scrap run for all this?
Yeah, probably.
So can we keep it rolling up like that and put it on a...
Man, what sucks is that blue. We need to figure out how to...
We're cutting it out right now. Taylon said he's going to put pressure on them when we get there, but I'm separating it right now anyway.
Okay. Yeah, because this is bare bright. I'll call up Sarasota. I might run this up there if they're going to have an issue with it.
That's the plastic coating that's coming off of these wirings. And that's why I kind of got an attitude about the scrap yards. Not all scrap yards. There's some scrap yards I've been to. They're a class act, they're top notch, and everybody loves to go to them. The one that we're using here, they're leaps and bounds better than the other bigger scrap yard here. That's all bare bright copper right there that's got a little coating on it. Some of that is aluminum. Hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate you watching what we're doing. We're doing a bunch of different things here on the channel that all are demolition related, teaching from junk removal all the way to tearing buildings down. Repurposed demo. Thanks for watching our video. Thanks for being part of the community, and leave us a comment if you got any questions.
Wire and I never tire. Yes, sir, I'm a red hot shot. I can cook your meals, turn the factory wheels, cause I'm ready kilowatt. When you toast your toast or you roast your roast, it is I who makes them hot. I'm in your TV set with every show you get, cause I'm ready kilowatt. I'm the little man who's always there. I'm a powerful high voltage guy. I'm so full of spark I can light up the dark, and you should see me wink my electric eye. I wash and dry your clothes, play your radios, I can heat your coffee pot. I am always there with lots of power to spare, cause I'm ready kilowatt. Remember, just plug in, I'm ready.